From Hollywood. Welcome to the Rat's Ass Podcast with Mojo Elliott.
Yeah, I was telling a friend yesterday, one of the worst things that can happen to a guy when he meets a new lady is you end up back at her place and using the restroom. You decide to take a peek in the medicine cabinet, and there it is, right in front of your face. A tube of Preparation H. I don't know about you, but I'm still trying to determine if I want to be naughty or nice today. From the Mojo studio on Sunset and Vine, here we go with another action-packed adventure.
Let's do it.
Here's what's on tap on the wrap. I've got my annual 2025 son of a bitch list for you. I'll also share my sincere Christmas wish for this year. And hey, guess who President Trump is pissed off now? The list is getting longer. Are we back to debating climate change again? Oh boy. And the fallout over the Generation Jones debate from Monday. Another round of head trauma is on the way. The movie Mashup is on deck. Plus our usual lunacy and loose behavior, including Mojo's Fuggin Funny. And are you in the mood for a good rock tale today with TDK? That's what's coming up today on the Rat's Ass Podcast for Thursday, December 4th. And we are just 21 days away until Santa slides his fabulous, flabby butt cheeks down the chimney.
Who gives a rat's ass?
Are you excited? Have you started chopping yet? All right, do you like Christmas music that rocks? Check out Rat's Ass Rock TV. We got something real special for you. It's called our Rockin' Christmas Mix. We did all the classics till now, plus we got some funny ones and even something for you haters who don't like Christmas. Go to ratsasspodcast.com, click on the YouTube icon on the homepage, you hit playlist, and crank it up, man. Turn it up till you rip off the knob and rock around the Christmas tree. Also, Radio Wars is down to the final 8, the Elite 8. We're about to crown one radio station in America as being the very best. The Elite 8 are. Do you want to know who they are? Are you waiting with bated breath? Yes, Mojo, we can't wait. We can't wait. Please tell us, please. KLOS Los Angeles, KSAN San Francisco, KRFX Denver, KXPT in Las Vegas, WAFX Norfolk, WARO in Fort Myers, WCMF in Rochester, and WPYX in Albany. The Elite 8. Follow the action on our blog at ratsasspodcast.com. All right, let's get into the wrap today. You know, every year I put together my annual son of a bitch list of people I'd like to give an atomic wedgie or worse to if I ever got the chance. Now, here's my son of a bitch list for 2025, counting them down from 10 to number 1. We're going to count them down from 10 to number 1. Here we go. Take your no-dos. All right, at number 10, we got the elf senator from Arizona, Mark Kelly. This guy spends more time on social media whining than a teenage girl. At number 9, it's a tie between Vladimir Putin and Vladimir Zelensky for not doing enough to end their insane, senseless war between Russia and Ukraine. They've taken over 230,000 soldiers' lives to date in almost 4 years, and that does not include civilians. Number 8, Jake Tapper, the CNN anchor who lied to us about Joe Biden's health and then had the cojones to write a book about his lies and capitalized on it. Number 7, Stephen A. Smith from ESPN, because I need a black guy on my list to make it legit, and I just don't like him. I don't like this guy. Why? Because he backstabbed Max Kellerman to get him off First Take. He's a backstabber. He hasn't apologized for it. Kind of brags about it, like, yeah, I did it. Openly bragged about it. So he makes the list. He's pretty much a shoo-in every year, by the way. Number 6, Bill Gates, for in a roundabout way admitting that climate change is bullshit. Number 5, Eric Swalwell. You know, he's the fart first, answer questions later senator from California. Great representative, so proud. He's also the Fang Fang Chinese spy banger. Eric makes the list for looking like a warthog and thinking he really has a chance to be the next governor of California. Number 4 on the list. You know, no annual son of a bitch list would be complete without Chuck Schumer. He shut down the government and then tried to blame the Republicans for it and lost. All to save his career at the age of 75. Number 3, Zoran Mamdummy for destroying New York City. Now, I know he hasn't taken office yet, but he's going to do it. It's going to happen. So I'm giving him advanced credit where credit is due. Number 2. Could be my favorite, even though he's not number 1. California slumlord Governor Gavin Newsom and his father William. Gavin for destroying my state of California in less than 7 years. That's all it took, 7 years. And he's piling on the final year. And his dad William for not pulling out soon enough. Number 1 on my annual son of a bitch list for 2025 is Tyler Robinson for murdering Charlie Kirk. You know, no one has the right to take another human's life, ever. I mean, thou shalt not kill is number 6 commandment. It's number 6 on the list of the top 10. And you know, when Robinson's time comes, and it will eventually, I hope.
They sit next to Satan in a fiery pit of hell.
Yeah. All right, I also have one of my Christmas wishes I'll share with you. I'm requesting that every damn politician, regardless of party affiliation, become a ghost on social media this month until at least January 2nd. Please, allow us to enjoy the holidays with family and friends without all of your negative backstabbing, your ball busting, and all your other BS that you do. You know, we really don't give a rat's ass at this time of year. Right now, we want some damn peace and quiet and some serenity now. So please, for the love of Christ, have some mercy and just fuck off. All right, did you happen to see the website Trump launched to hammer the liberal media about their piss-poor one-sided reporting? I mean, you really got to see this. It's a thing of beauty. And it's very informative, too, by the way, but you do get both sides of the issue. It's kind of like a really good debate. You watch TV, you get the talking heads talking about what they talk about, and then the next day you see the rebuttal from the White House. It's called the White House Media Bias Portal. And here's the URL if you want to write it down. It is WH for White House, wh.gov/media bias. wh.gov/media bias. Share it with your friends. Make a board game out of it. Have fun with it at parties. All right, I'm starting to see debates about climate change creeping up again. And I guess there are some who didn't hear Bill Gates put the kibosh on this whole idea of climate change. Now, I'm not going to harp on this here. I've talked about it enough. But for those of you who are bringing this subject up again, I do want to give you some facts and some common sense maybe to help you make up your own mind. Did you know the United States makes up only 1.87% of the Earth's surface? Did you know the United States population is only 4.5% of the global population? And it's been well documented the worst polluters on Earth are China and India, and they do nothing about it. Nothing. So I want you to keep this in mind, because even if climate change was real, do you think the United States and our politicians who can't balance a budget can solve it without China and India doing their part? Really? Do you really think that's true? You know, only the Democrats have preached this stuff about global warming over the years, and now it's called climate change because global warming turned out to be BS too. And they figured, let's change the name so we can fool a whole new generation of people. They changed it from global warming to climate change. Same thing. What are the chances? Climate change is nothing more than tax theft by the Democratic Party to line their pockets. I'm just saying, think about it. I'm just throwing out some things to think about. That's it. All right, based on the number of emails I got about my segment on Generation Jones on Monday, I was surprised by the number of you who were unaware that Generation Jones exists and what this debate is all about. So let's go back to the beginning of the debate and start with social media, and that's where it all got started.
Is the denial of Generation Jones a form of generational erasure, proof that history only remembers the loudest, not the most impactful? Some say Generation Jones isn't real, that it's just late boomers or early Gen X with a different name. But they're wrong. Born between 1954 and 1965, Gen Jonesers didn't grow up with Woodstock or Nirvana. They grew up in a gap, too young for hippie idealism, too old for Gen X detachment. The proof is in the numbers and the mindset. Gen Jones was the first generation to hit adulthood during massive layoffs, Watergate, and the energy crisis. Unlike boomers, they didn't benefit from post-war abundance. And unlike Gen X, they were raised with high expectations, only to watch those expectations collapse. The term Generation Jones was coined by cultural historian Jonathan Pontel, not as a gimmick but to reflect a distinct social experience. The Jones refers to jonesing, craving the American dream, trying to keep up with the Joneses. The dreams were promised, but rarely received. Over 80 million people fall into this group, and their voting patterns and consumer behavior diverge sharply from boomers and Gen X. They gave us Steve Jobs, Barack Obama, and Madonna, not boomers, not Gen Xers. They invented startup culture, normalized divorce recovery and quietly reshaped what middle age and success look like. Call it what you want, but erasing Generation Jones means erasing a generation that shaped the modern world while getting none of the credit.
Now, everything you heard there is true, but my beef is with the years represented from 1954 to 1965. I say no. It's 1955 to 1964. Gen X starts at 1965. We know this. But here's my retort between 54 and 55. Now, for years, I did research for radio as a radio programmer and dove into demographics like you wouldn't believe and discovered that there are two subsets when it comes down to boomers. I call Generation Smith 1946 to 1954, and Generation Jones 1955 to 1964. And here's my rationale for this, okay? Through my research and, talking to other programmers throughout the years, we all agree that most people start to discover their music at 14. Right when the pubes start to pop, that's when you're like, I want to get my own damn music here. Okay, doesn't mean you dislike the music you grew up with till 14, but you start getting your identity at 14. Now, if you were born in 1955, okay, you add 14 to that, that's 1969. Okay, so I define it by that's when Led Zeppelin debuted. Zeppelin had the same impact on music as Nirvana did in 1991. Yeah. Okay, those born in 1954, you add 14 years, it's 1968. That's pre-Woodstock. Pre-Woodstock. And you look back and it's Rolling Stones, it's Beatles. You even go back further to Elvis Presley. Okay, that has nothing to do with Generation Jones. So it always made sense to me to divide the boomer generation up into 1946 to 1964. That's 18 years divided by 2 gives us 9 years. So it kind of makes sense. And it lays out that way. But yeah, Woodstock, when that's over, Led Zeppelin rolls out, and that's when Generation Jones starts. That's my rationale, okay? And if you really want to get down to brass tacks on this, it's really 1957 to 1964 for Generation Jones. Let me hear your thoughts. ratsasspodcast@gmail.com. The debate will rage on. All right, I love a good rock tale every now and then, don't you? Let's see what TDK has lined up for us today.
When two friends ran into each other at a concert, they had no idea it would lead to rock stardom. Back in 1969, 500,000 hippies showed up to Woodstock, and one of them was a 21-year-old soon-to-be world-famous lead singer. But at this point in time, he was just an anonymous music fan in a giant crowd enjoying all the pretty colors.
Wow, dude.
After passing out from too much fun, he was jolted awake by Jimi Hendrix playing the Star-Spangled Banner. And just like that, Woodstock was over. And like many of the kids there, he was stuck and couldn't get out. So they just kind of hung out and partied for a few days. And this is where the magic moment happened. While walking down a path called Groovy Way that was lit up by Christmas lights, the lead singer ran into a kid from high school that he used to know, who was now a drummer. Steven Tyler and Joey Kramer had no idea they were about to hang out together for about 50 more years.
Yeah, Bad Boys from Boston, featuring the Demon of Scream and Steven Tyler. Great story.
Holy sweet Jesus, get ready for the football predictions again. Here is Mojo Elliott with Sports on the Wrap.
All right, week 14 of the NFL season is upon us. And we've got a good one for Thursday night football. Dallas at Detroit. The Cowboys have been surging lately. The Lions have been struggling, but I still think the Lions are a better football team, so I'm riding with the Lions at home tonight. Here are my week 4 pick'em money games. I'm at 37-15 or 71% on the year, all right? Here are the picks. Write these down. Again, you're getting a lot of homework today. But we got Tampa Bay over New Orleans, Cleveland over Tennessee because of that defense, and Tennessee's got a rookie quarterback. Denver over Las Vegas, and Los Angeles, the Rams over Arizona. Okay, Tampa Bay, Cleveland, Denver, and Los Angeles Rams. Those are the 4. Los Angeles Clippers are parting ways with guard Chris Paul. The rumors are that Paul was at odds with head coach Ty Lue over the last few weeks on, regarding their leadership styles. I think the coach should win over on that, but, here are the facts. Chris Paul is 40 years old. He makes $3.6 million to play this season. He's getting about 14 minutes of action, averaging 2.9 points, 3.3 assists per game. And let's face it, Paul isn't LeBron James. He's cooked. He's cooked, and the Clippers weren't getting their return on investment that they thought they were going to get, so they're going to part ways. So let's wish Chris well because, you know what, we got to speak highly of this guy. He's had one hell of a career, and we might just see him coaching in the NBA real soon. All right, check in the chat box at ratsasspodcast.com. Benny Fox from Alhambra, California said, do you think the Raiders should trade Max Crosby and Brock Bowers to get draft picks to rebuild? You know, this is a popular move made popular by Jimmy Jones back in '89 when they traded Herschel Walker to the Vikings for a slew of draft picks. And John Gruden did the same thing with Khalil Mack a few years ago when he took over the Raiders. And, you know, I just think that so much emphasis is put on the NFL draft, and you get some good players, and it's a whole mix. But you look at the Raiders draft picks over the last few years, they've had some really high draft picks, and it hasn't panned out at all. I think it's a bag of you get what you get from the NFL draft. The Raiders need to build an offensive and defensive line. I think you need experienced players to do that. If you want to draft a quarterback that's high up in the draft, it makes sense if you get a high draft pick. But I wouldn't trade Max Crosby. He's 28 years old. He's got 2 or 3 more good years in him. Brock Bowers, 22. Why would you give him up? You can't get a draft pick for Brock Bowers right now. So no. I would say big 0 no on those two. Jared Smiley, Tempe, Arizona. Who would you rather have on the Lakers, DeAndre Ayton or Giannis Antetokounmpo? Boy, I'll tell you, I wouldn't give up DeAndre Ayton. And again, here's a guy that's not a generational player, but he's a big guy with a lot of skill. They don't grow on trees. Now, if you want to go for Giannis, I would put him at power forward. I would give up, in a trade, I would give up Roy Hachimura, Dalton Knecht, Jared Vanderbilt, and maybe if you needed to close the deal, throw in one of their number 1 picks. It's not going to be a high pick anyway. All right, that's who I would trade because you look at the starting lineup with Giannis, DeAndre Ayton, LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves. You don't have to give up Reeves for this. I wouldn't do that anyway. Right, but that would make sense to me. I would do that because you want to win now. And keep in mind, Giannis is going to be 31 years old in a couple of days. So you're only going to have him for 2 or 3 years. You only do this trade if you're convinced you can win now. All right, and that is sports for you today on The Wrap.
Rat's Ass Podcast.
All right, today we are playing the movie mashup. I'm going to play 3 clips from 3 different movies, and you have to identify what movies they're from. Do you think you can do it? Listen close. 3 clips coming your way. Here we go.
It's coming out of me like lava.
That got a little cold.
Yes, master. Right away, master. Ain't gonna be no bacon on the salad.
All right, one more time.
It's coming out of me like lava.
That got a little cold.
Yes, master. Right away, master. Ain't gonna be no bacon on the salad.
All right, you think about that. See if you can figure it out. I'll have the answer for you coming up. No, that's not what you think it is. It really wasn't.
It's time for some loose behavior on the Rat's Ass Podcast.
All right, it's Thursday, and this is where we do Mojo's Fuggin' Funny. All right, here to tickle your taints today is a guy who was taken from us way too soon. This is Ralphie May.
Gentlemen, in relationships, we tend to get complacent. And when that happens, we tend to take our women for granted. And when that happens, women don't feel sexy. If you want a wildcat in the sack, fellas, you gotta make her feel sexy all day long. Women have to be adored, loved, pursued, desired, even inside of a relationship, okay? Every day. Gentlemen, that means foreplay begins when you wake up. You're waking up, you're taking your morning whiz, she's coming out of the shower, drying off, her legs and that peach meat sneaking out the back. Grab that monkey, let her know she's alive, okay? Let her know she's alive. Stop, you're crazy. Get away from me, you're crazy.
Yeah, she might just grab that monkey back.
Hey, heads up. Here comes your celebrity cheese.
All right, did you see where 33-year-old Miley Cyrus has found another man to walk her down the aisle? Cyrus got engaged to 27-year-old L.A. bass drummer Max Morando Thanksgiving weekend during a trip to Asia. Something about Asia that brings out the romance in people these days. But the good news is Miley won't have to buy herself flowers anymore. All right, let's play a game of bullshit or bullshit. Travis Kelce claims that he and Taylor Swift have never had an argument, and he's getting marriage advice from actor George Clooney. Are you buying both? Now, a word of advice to Mr. Kelce. I really wouldn't marry a girl I had never argued with because you don't know how good the makeup sex is going to be. And that's really the fun part about marriage is the makeup sex. Okay? You want somebody that you're going to fight and flirl with and get along with, but you like to have those fights so you have a little makeup. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy action? So you're not going to know. What if it's a letdown? What if it's a letdown? What if you have one big blowout and you get together in the sack and it's like, nothing. Just nothing. Now, as far as taking marriage advice from George Clooney, think again, man. How did getting advice from Clooney work out for the Democrats in 2024? You might want to lean on Pat Mahomes for marriage advice. Sydney Sweeney turned heads at the red carpet premiere of her new psychological thriller, The Handmaid, in New York earlier this week when she showed up wearing a tight-fitting white dress that kind of accentuated the motorboats. Yeah, personally, I don't think Sweeney's all that hot. I've told you this before, but I do love how she uses her sex appeal that she does have kind of to subtly piss off the liberal women. Sydney certainly does have
Gazonga power.
Don't you agree? Ex-Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Katy Perry, the singer, they were seen gallivanting around Tokyo, Japan this week. Perry is currently on her Lifetime tour and did 2 shows this week in Tokyo. Now, is it possible, follow me on this one, is Trudeau tagging along with Perry as a groupie with benefits? I mean, think about it. He gets to travel around the world on her dime and watch her perform before heading back to the hotel for some hot and sexy, who's your daddy action. So you think about it. He goes from Prime Minister of Canada to a gigolo. You know what? You got to respect that. You got to respect that. All right, and happy belated birthday to our girl, Britney Spears. She turned 44 on Tuesday, and she has now been single for 286 days.
Who gives a rat's ass?
Rat's Ass Podcast. Email from our Gmail.
All right, this is where anything goes based on your questions and comments and observations. And that's my boy Jagger. He's having a little bit of a fit today. But this comes from Sarah Regg in Denver, Colorado. She said, sorry to hear about your concussion. Was it the big head or the little one? Oh, good question. She says, hey, help me get to know you better. What TV character would you say emulates you the best? God, I've answered this before many, many podcasts ago. Probably Hank Moody in Californication. That would be the closest, if you've ever seen that show. All right, Steve Albert, Duluth, Minnesota, said, I wanted to commend you on your explanation about Generation Jones, but don't you think there are some crossover between generations? Yeah, I should have pointed this out, Steve. There's always crossover with these things, but when I did all this research, I found out that the masses, and that's really what we look at in marketing, is the mass audience. They really do fit the demographics and the years that make up all of these different generations. Like, for an example, 1946, 1954, the early boomers, Generation Smith, they really do fit that identity. Same with Generation Jones, 1955 to 64, and, of course, Gen X, 65 to 1980. All right, Colleen Cross, Plano, Texas. She said, I strongly disagree with your observation that the girls who like country music are always looking for the bigger, better deal. I happen to love country music, and I've been with my husband for 11 years, as faithful as a swan. Well, I think that's just Jim Jandy, Colleen. My God, it sounds like you found the best deal you could find. And hey, oh boy, we got a dating dilemma today. This comes from Brian Yankowski in Lawton, Oklahoma. He said, my girlfriend of 2 years dumped me after Thanksgiving. I'm sorry to hear that. She was she said I was boring, and she needed more excitement. And nothing I say seems to matter. What should I do? Let me ask Ryan, does she like country music? No, seriously, I'm sorry. I'm joking. You're sitting there with a broken heart. Seriously, there isn't a thing you can do. Once a woman decides she's done, she's pretty much done. Okay, so what you need to do is just disappear, leave her alone. Here's what's going to happen. I bet you as soon as you hook up with another girl, she will magically reappear. She'll hear about it through the grapevine, and she will magically reappear. Then you're going to get to decide if you want to take her back, or maybe you stick with the bigger, better deal you found. Think about it. Ginger McCullough, Sparks, Nevada. She said, I'm curious to find out if Moose Knuckle Mike ever got back to you. Well, as a matter of fact, he did. Ginger. Turns out Mike was hanging 10 at Zuma Beach one day, and he had a hell of a wipeout that messed up his back. And he went MIA. You know, when a man's in pain, he doesn't want to be bothered. And that's why he wasn't returning my calls, emails, and text messages. Now, what he said happened was he caught a wave that flipped him up about 12 feet in the air, and he landed, did a backflop on a bomb, which is a really big wave, heavy wave that comes in behind you. But he did ask me for a favor, though, which I thought was kind of bold. He wanted me to promise that I would never wear a Speedo around his wife Camel Toe Candy again unless I put a potato in the back. Probably a russet. Nah, I'm going to go with a Yukon Gold. Yeah, but we're going to meet up at Neptune's Net before Christmas and grab some fish and chips, a couple of brews, and exchange gifts. You know, this year I think I'm going to get him a Mr. Potato Head in a Speedo, though.
What are you people? On dope?
I guarantee you Mike is. All right, if you have any questions, comments, or observations, send them to my producer, Fleabag, at ratsasspodcast@gmail.com. ratsasspodcast@gmail.com.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head trauma.
All right, we are playing the movie mashup today. I played 3 clips from 3 different movies, and you have to identify which movie each one is from. All right, let's review.
It's coming out of me like lava.
That got a little cold.
Yes, master. Right away, master. Ain't gonna be no bacon on the salad.
All right, if you guessed Bridesmaids, Tommy Boy, and Waiting,
Yeah, baby.
correctamundo. But if you missed it, go see your doctor and get well soon. Get your head trauma checked out. All right, I got to scoot. Seriously, I really do got to scoot. The salsa I had at Joe's Cantina last night is blazing hot. But I think I got time for one more thing for you. You know, science says the more you compare yourself with others leads to feelings of unhappiness and depression.
This is why I don't compare myself with Siri.
Well, good morning, Alexa. Yeah, and hey, why would you? Because you're so far superior.
Aw, I like it when you kiss my butt.
Well, you don't have one, but okay. Welcome to Rat Nation. Sal Ramos of San Diego, California. Derek Martin in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Wayman Griffith in Raleigh, North Carolina. Nancy Obradovich in Erie, Pennsylvania. And Andrew Curtis in Norman, Oklahoma. And to listeners around the world in London, England, Sydney, Australia, Falkenstein, Germany, and Paris, France.
Now's your chance to be one of the few and the loud. Join Rat Nation at ratsasspodcast.com. Membership does have its rewards, you know.
All right, that's it for this episode of the Rat's Ass Podcast. Thanks for being here. Go check out ratsasspodcast.com to get the entire Rat's Ass Podcast experience. You can listen to shows, read the blog, watch Rat's Ass Rock TV and rock out. Connect with me on the socials so we can chat about it a little bit more. And join Rat Nation to become one of the few and the loud. You know, membership does have its rewards. All right, thanks for tuning in and listening to the Rat's Ass Podcast today. We'll do this again on Monday, December 8th. Take care of each other. And again, thanks for stopping by.
The conversation continues between podcasts on X and ratsasspodcast.com. ratsasspodcast.com.